If all goes well, you're actually going to leave here with a skill. You're going to know how to do something you didn't know how to do, and it's something that very well may change the way you look at Jewish texts forever. And I'm not exaggerating. Okay, what is that? What does this mean? What does this have to do with Judaism? It's a Swedish pop group. That is the worst answer.
It's a palindrome.
It's a palindrome, but what else is it? It's
daddy.
It's daddy in Hebrew. That's not what we're using it for. It's also
a poetic.
But even Abakovner. But yes, it's a poetic structure. We would call it a palindrome because it's the same backwards and forwards. And what we're going to learn about today is a chiasm, chiasm, which is like a palindrome, only it's for words or ideas or phrases. Or I'm sorry, or events. Phrases or events. And the Western literature often organizes things A, B, A, B. But in the ancient Near East, a lot of things were A, B, C, B, A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A, etc. The most basic chiasm would be ABA. But it can get really complicated, and I'll explain what I mean, but it could be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, they get really deep. And we'll look at some that are pretty deep. Now, there is some of this also in Western literature. There are chiasms in Beowulf, Paradise Lost, Shakespeare, the Book of Mormon, not the musical, the scripture. I even read on the internet interpretations of the Gettysburg Address, the I Have a Dream speech, and the movie RoboCop, arguing that they're all chiasms. So a chiasm is a structure in which things go the same backwards and forwards, just like a man planned a canal. Panama. Okay. Before I tell you a little bit more about why you should care, I want to do some English chiasms so that we know exactly what we're talking about. Let's start, and also I want you to help me find the structure. Is it ABA? Is it ABC, CBA? They all have structures, and you'll see what I mean when we try some. Okay, Socrates. Eat to live. Don't live to eat. What is that? What? A-B-B-A. Now, you could, and so A is eat, and to live is B. Don't live is B. To eat is A. Now, you could try to say that the word to or the word don't works in there, but they really aren't part of the chiasm. There are always going to be extraneous words that are not central to the chiasm. You want to look for things that really mean the same thing or mean the opposite thing, are really parallel. All right, Malcolm X. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. What is that? What is the structure? We've got two handouts right here. A, B, B, A. We didn't land. Or this might be A, B, C, C, B, A. Listen, we didn't land. Plymouth Rock landed us. Do you see how it's A, B, C, C, B, A? Okay. Achad ha'am. More than the Jews have kept Shabbat. Shabbat has kept the Jews, which is an interesting concept. We could spend a half an hour talking about if this was a class on Shabbat, which it's not. So let's just talk about the structure of the chiasm. What would that be? ABCBA? ABCCBA. Right. Jews kept Shabbat. Shabbat kept Jews. So words like more than, that's not part of the chiasm. That's just part of the structure of the sentence to keep it together. Okay. With the person next to you, figure out the next two. The one by Bill Clinton and the one from the musical. No. What is the one by Bill Clinton?
A-B-C-B-A.
What is the one by Bill Clinton?
ABC.
Sometimes you can interpret these different ways. What do you have, Michael?
ABC, ABC.
Oh, right.
Chiasms are always going to go back and forth. So you never have anything that isn't going in one direction and the other. You got ABA, and you're right. Because some of these other words, they go together as big chunks. So there is nothing, that really isn't part of it. Wrong with America. That cannot be cured by right with America. A, B, A. T for 2 and 2 for T is very easy. It's A, B, 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 A. Right. By failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Okay, what is this? That's what you might think, but it's not. It's A, B, C, B, A. And this is one of the neat things about chiasms, and you'll see this in some of the Torah texts too, is that they often point to whatever's in the middle. And in this chiasm, what's in the middle? The word? Your. So, by noticing that this is a chiasm, it draws your attention to the word in the middle. By failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So this is actually more than just A, B, B, A. And finally, I love this one. In America, you can always find a party. In Soviet Union, the party can always find you.
Yakov Smirnoff.
Yakov Smirnoff. Okay. What is that one?
A, B, C, D, C, B, A?
Okay. America and Soviet Union, we have to set aside. Because if they were chiasms, the locations would both be at either end. Right?
Right, because
Right.
they're going to go in the middle.
You have to go in the middle. So you have to drop America and Soviet Union.
ABBA.
But how would
You find party. Party find you. So it's
A, B, C, C, B,
A, B, C, C, B, A. Okay. Let's have some fun. You just spoke to the person next to you. Set up, find a person that you didn't speak to last time, and fill in the first one. Jimmy Carter. America did not invent human rights in a very real sense.
Human rights invented America.
Right. So the thing about it in a very real sense, it's not part of the chiasm. Right?
Right.
It's not being pointed to. It's just extra verbiage. The pattern is A.
ABBA.
A.
America invent human rights. Human rights, ABC, CBA. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock. In feature films, the director is God. In documentary films,
God is the director.
okay. I'm going to tell you that in feature films and in documentary films cannot be part of the chiasm because they each come at the beginning of a phrase that is parallel. You have to drop those.
All right,
So what is the chiasm?
The director is God, God is the director.
And so the pattern is A.
B, B, A.
Okay. All right, this one is hard.
I was gonna say though, in a feature film, God is still the director, even though the director might think he's
God. There you go. Okay, this next one is hard, but I kind of like it. Many a man owes his success to his first wife, and did everybody get it?
It's got to be something like owes his second wife to his success.
All right, there you go. Very good.
What?
And owes his second wife to his success.
Mm.
Right, he's got the money, so he gets the pretty one.
Good one.
Right now,
Oh.
this points out something important, which is that they don't have to be the same words. They can either be the same concept, or they can be parallel, and sometimes they can be exactly the opposite. But the structure is still the same. Many owes success, first wife, success. It's A.
Not first
B,
wife, second wife.
Second wife, right, second wife, success, A, B, B, A. Okay, Ronald Reagan. You see, I had Carter and Clinton, so I wanted to make sure we were bipartisan. Nations do not mistrust each other because they are armed.
They are
armed because of mistrust.
They are armed because they mistrust each other. And what would that be? What's the pattern?
A, B, B, A.
Okay, well, nations can't be part of it because there's no nations at the end.
Okay.
Right? So mistrust each other because they are armed, armed because they mistrust each other. So it's
A,
A,
B, B, A.
A, B, B, A.
But
And-
how's the structure of the Jimmy Carter one any different? The two operative...
No, they're the same structure.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, the very best way to figure out chiasms is to start at either end and come towards the middle. There are people who try to keep it in their heads. Okay, A and then B is this, and then C is this, and when what was? the best way to do it is to start at the end and move towards the center. And then what you find in the center, as I said, is often the most important thing. By the way, one of the reasons that so much literature in the ancient Near East is chiastic and other structures like acrostic, etc., is it helps memorization, right? Okay, and finally, Carrie Fisher, in general, I think it is true that women to love and men love to, right? What is that?
ABBA.
Women, which is women, right, ABBA, because it can't be, what men and women can't be part of the chiasm. Otherwise, men would be at the end. Right. Okay, good. Now, these are all chiasms within a sentence. It's within and in the context, within the context of the Torah, it would be like a chiasm within a verse, or within a pair of verses. But chiasms can also show up in the context of an entire story, of the context of an entire chapter, and in a few cases, the book of Esther, for example, in the context of an entire book. So, I came up with this on my own. I Googled them, could not find them anywhere, so I think I made them up. Or I discovered it myself. We're going to do two stories, Cinderella and then another one, and I'll show you how they are chiasms. So, Cinderella is a chiasm because look at what happens. The story starts, she's unhappy. Then the prince goes looking for a bride, and he offers a ball. Cinderella has her process where she becomes fancy. She dances with the prince. She becomes normal again. Then the prince looks for something again. This time he's looking for Cinderella, and he offers a slipper instead of offering a ball. Then Cinderella is happy ever after. Okay? A, B, C, D, C, B, A. It's a structure that moves in one direction and then reverses in the other direction. Agreed? Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Contrived or fair?
Fair.
Fair. Okay.
But it's bringing our attention to the dance then.
Yeah, exactly. The dance is the center of the story. Now, in groups of three, I like to mix it up. Groups of three, you tell me a few ways, and see if you can sketch it out if you can. How is the Wizard of Oz a chiasm?
Right.
The movie. But I'll bet you never thought you were going to have discussions about the Wizard of Oz when you came to the movie, all right? So we're going to have to stop here, and we'll talk about it as a large group. Before we get into anything, how is the cinematography a chiasm?
Black and white in color.
Right, black and white color and?
You get points for that.
And
Black
black.
Black and white, right. It's only, no, but seriously, when we do chiasm,
Okay, you're right.
we have to follow it through. So A, B, A, the cinematography of this film is a chiasm. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the letters on the board. Tell me what's A.
Kansas.
Kansas. Tell me about Kansas. What's going on in Kansas? Dorothy is?
It's a boring.
It's one with her family.
Uh-huh. How does she feel?
It's not even her immediate family.
She feels ignored, and sort of not understood, kind
Good.
of lost, overlooked.
I'm going to express it like that.
They took her dog away.
Yeah, I mean, their dog's the closest thing to her, and they let the mean lady take her dog.
All right. Good. Now, the next thing we should go over B, right? Right? We go over B. No. What do we do next?
A.
A. Okay. I want you to think like a chiasm detective. And a chiasm detective would not go to B next. She'd go to A next. So what is A?
Kansas.
Back in Kansas, and the Dorothy is?
Happy.
Dorothy is happy. Oh, I'll never want to leave home again, Auntie Em, Uncle Henry.
But there's a line that she says,
All right.
and if I can't find happiness in my own backyard, then I never really lost it to begin with.
Oh. Okay, what's B?
Right?
Travel?
Travel. Good. Here it's travel how?
Tornado.
Tornado. A twister, as they call it. And then here it's travel
Ruby Fields.
heels.
Ruby
Flick your heel 3 times or
In
whatever.
the hourglass.
Okay, what happens next? After the travel, what's the immediate first thing that happens?
The Wicked Witch of the East dies.
East dead. C. East bum 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 bum. Okay. East dies. The Wicked Witch of the East. And what happens with C?
The Wicked Witch of the West.
Wicked Witch of the
We're
West.
skipping the meeting
Where
with
does
the wizard.
Glinda come
Guys,
in?
We
no, we
haven't
haven't. We
gotten
have
there
not. We
yet.
have not
Yes.
skipped the
We
meeting with
haven't
the
gotten
wizard.
there yet.
Okay, what would
The house
D
falls
be?
on the witch. The house falls on the witch.
What's D?
Oz?
The quest, exactly. What is the quest for? I'm just going to put quest. What is this quest? Here?
Finding the Wizard of Oz.
We're
Going
off to see the wizard, right?
Wonderful Wizard of
And then what is D?
Quest for the broom.
Quest, you find me the broomstick of the wicked witch. So, broom. And so, I'm going to suggest that there is one E. And what is that E?
The Wizard.
The wizard.
But she meets him twice.
Okay,
Well,
but in the story has as the center, I am the Oz, the great and powerful. That scene, I'm suggesting that the chiastic structure shows us, is the center of the story, the wizard. So, it is A, B, C, D, E, D, C, B, A. Now, you knew that already. You knew that the Wizard of Oz was built chiastically, right?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. 'Cause you never thought of it. You never thought about it this way. And I want the same to happen with Torah texts. Okay? And that's what we're going to shift to
Oh, cool.
right now. Okay. The chiasms are something that professors of Jewish studies, if they're biblicists, they definitely know. If they're not, they may not know. Your rabbi may know about them, may even be an expert about them. He may have only heard of them. She may not know anything about them. Yeah.
Is that called parallelism?
No, parallelism would be A-B-A-B.
Okay, I heard a lot about that.
Yeah, this is a different kind of structure. In Hebrew, it's sometimes called at-bash. At-bash, what's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet? The last letter of the Hebrew alphabet? The second letter of the Hebrew alphabet? The second to last letter? Okay, at-bash. Now, we're going to look at 7 Hebrew chiasms, and then we're going to have some group work. Okay. Okay, chiasm number 1, and all of these I'm telling you what the structure is. It's a Hebrew text from Song of Songs. Anybody read Hebrew? Want to volunteer? Just read it. Go ahead. All right. Ani and li, they both mean me. A and A. Lidodi, vidodi. A, B, B, A. Very simple, but it's an important text in Judaism, built as a chiasm. Okay, the next one is the first prayer we know in Jewish history, is a prayer that Moses says when his sister Miriam is sick. He prays to God the following prayer. Somebody read it in Hebrew. Right. And we're doing this one in Hebrew instead of English because the sound really matters. Okay? El is when you start your mouth like this and you close it like this. And la is when you start your mouth like this and you open it like this. So at the beginning you have el, and at the end you have la. That's the A. The B is na, and the C is refa. El, na, refa, na, la, A, B, C, B, A. So, I'm glad you're smiling. I think I figured this one out myself too. I couldn't find it on the internet. That means I get to reward myself the originality prize, even if somebody else has found it before me. Okay, the Noah story. The numbers in the flood story are written as a chiasm.
Oh, wow.
7 days, 40 days, 150 days, 150 days, 40 days, 7 days. Chiasm. Okay, the next one. This is where we know that God is telling us if you murder someone, the death penalty applies. And it's written as follows. Shofech, which means one who sheds. Dam, which means blood. Ha'adam, of a human being. So the phrase is dam ha'adam, meaning a person's blood. And in English, it would be a person's blood. But in Hebrew, it's blood of a person, which is key to seeing that it's a chiasm. If we just looked at it in English, we might not notice. Ba'adam, at the hands of a human being. damo, his blood, meaning the blood of the person who did the killing, yishafech, will be shed. So, shofech dam ha'adam ba'adam damo yishafech, A, B, C, C, B, A, chiasm. Okay, look at this one. A, B, C, D, E, F, F, E, D, C, B, A. Trust me, they even get more extreme than this one. But this is a series of events in over 10 chapters of Genesis. It's actually more complicated than this, but I simplified it. The A's have to do with a woman having to struggle in childbirth and giving birth. The B's have to do with a woman in a foreign palace and what happens to a pact. The C's have to do with Jacob and Esau's blessing. Remember, it doesn't have to be the same thing. It could be the same idea. It could be similar themes, and it'll often be the opposite of what happened before. Okay, D, Jacob encounters angels. The first time they're going up and down a ladder. The second time he encounters them at a place called Machanayim, and it's a sort of a brief thing, but it's there. Jacob arrives at Haran. There's stuff about, there's deception going on in terms of which wife he's going to have and what wages he's going to be paid. And then on the way out, he leaves Haran, and again, there's a whole bunch of stuff about the sheep and the deception, same kind of thing. F, there's a part where Jacob's wives are fertile. F, Jacob's flocks are fertile. A, B, C, D, E, F, F, E, D, C, B, A. A little more sophisticated than the Wizard of Oz in terms of chiastic structure, but we didn't spend that much time looking at the Wizard of Oz, so who knows? I would like to see at the end of the story where, and it may be in there, where the concepts in this order appear. Courage, love, and wisdom. Maybe. That would really make a fancy chiasm if it showed up like that. Okay, and I love this one. The Tower of Babel's story is built like a tower. Look at the beginning and look at the, look at the beginning and look at the end. The phrase whole earth, all the earth. Language, language. Shinar is what Babel used to be called. Babel is what Babel is now called. Remember, it doesn't have to be the same word. It could be the same concept and show how it changed. Come let us, come let us. City in a tower, and what's in the middle?
Building up.
What's in between city and a tower and city and a tower? What do you think that the chiasm is probably pointing to as the center of the story?
Built up in the destruction.
Building up the tower.
The Lord came down.
Oh.
God's descent to take care of the problem, I'm suggesting, is the center of this story. You look going one way, you look going the other way, and you ask yourself what's in the middle, and that's often a hint at the theme of what's going on. Now, I'm really proud of the one I'm about to show you. I was taking a class on Chumash in my yeshiva, and the rabbi taught us about chiasms, and he said, if you find one, let me know. And I found one, and I showed it to him, and he was stunned, because it's a prayer that he says every day, and he's a chiasm master. He's written books on it. He loves them. He never noticed. And he was so moved. This is the highlight of my entire academic career, and I've done some cool things academically. He was so moved that during our chavruta time, where we were off in pairs, meeting and studying texts before we came together as a large group, during chavruta time, he said he had to go shopping to buy some treats that we could have as a group because it was such an important moment to him, he had to make a bracha. A blessing. Now, I don't know if there's anybody else in the room whose teacher had to make a bracha because of something that he said or she said, but it happened to me. Okay, so you might want to take a look at this. I laminated them because they are because they're in color, and I don't want to spend them every time I teach this. But the color really helps to see what they are.
Sure.
The prayer is Ahavat Olam. It's the immediate prayer preceding the Shema at night.
Oh, yeah.
And what's neat here is it's a prayer that has 46 words, and yet it's got A, B, C, D, E, F, F, E, D, C, B, A in 46 words. Let's look at it. Ahavat, what is that parallel to at the end? Ohev. Ohev Amo Yisrael. Olam. Le'olamim. Beit Yisrael Amecha goes with Al Tasir Mimenu. And this one is not the language, but it's the concept. Beit Yisrael Amecha, the children of Israel, your people, is about the connection between God and the Jewish people, the tight connection. Al Tasir Mimenu means don't turn away from us, the tight connection between God and the Jewish people. Okay, what's the next one? Ahavatcha. Ahavta. And at the end it's Ve'ahavatcha. So I don't know the level of Hebrew here, but at least you can hear the sound. If you don't know the words, you hear the sound. Ahavatcha, ahavatcha. The next one. Torah u'mitzvot, and then down here in yellow, Torah u'mitzvotecha, and then in purple, Hukim, Ubechukecha. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, F, E, D, C, B, A.
Wow.
This cannot be a coincidence. It can't be. There's just too much in there. Whoever wrote this, and we don't really know, we think it was somebody in the time of the men of the Great Assembly, but somebody said, I'm going to write a chiasm in this prayer, and stuck it all in. And I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say that I'm the first person to notice, but I haven't heard, my teacher didn't hear about it. I couldn't find it on the internet. And these things are hidden. So you can find them too. Yeah.
So are we saying that also whoever wrote the Torah deliberately wrote
Yeah.
Chiasms?
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But yes, you're right. Yes.
I gotta think that a lot of Mishnaic structure is chiasmatic.
Well, a lot of Mishnah is ABAB. But there is Mishnah that is chiastic. Yeah.
So when there are an odd number of parts,
Elements, yeah.
the middle is important. In a situation like this where there's an even number, does that mean the middle two are important?
Yeah, it could be. I don't see anything here that
Right.
makes, I don't think this is one that's pointing.
Okay.
They don't all. I don't think this is one that's like that. All right, but let's deal with this question about authorship of the Torah, because I think it's really important. There are debates over how many authors the Torah has. And I'm not going to talk about who wrote the Torah. You can work that out with your rabbi, with a philosopher. I'm dealing with literary structure here. The question is, how many authors does the Torah have? And there is an argument that the Torah has many authors, at least 4. And those 4, they're often called J, E, P, and D, and that their names represent the kind of language they use about God. And there are other similar things that people find in these sections of the Torah that are claimed to have been written by J, E, P, and D. The problem that I want to point out with that argument is that there are dozens of chiasms that cross over J, E, P, and D. Now, there is somebody that is reported to be called the redactor that is supposed to have put together J, E, P, and D, and it is possible that the redactor put together a bunch of texts and thought, I'm going to work in some chiasms and organized it and put together. But according to Occam's razor, the idea that the simplest explanation is always the better, isn't it possible that there's one author of the Torah who put in all these chiasms on purpose? And and what I just said is sort of an argument against those who are less traditional in the way they think about the Torah. I'm now going to make an argument against those who are more traditional in the way they think about the Torah. You will hear, if you bring up literary structure in the Torah to people who are very orthodox, they'll get a little nervous. Because they'll say, the Torah isn't literature, the Torah comes from God. Treat it as a holy text. don't treat it as a novel. God forbid, treat it like The Wizard of Oz. But if God wrote the Torah, and God is omniscient and omnipotent, He is the best literary stylist in history. He knows all the techniques, and He knows how to use them. So it shouldn't surprise you that they show up throughout the Torah text. Okay, we have 22 minutes, and there are a couple more things. I'm going to give 2 more reasons why chiasms are important. One is just that they're fun, they're interesting, and they're accessible. I think you guys have picked up on that already. They are secrets waiting to be uncovered, and 4 of the chiasms in this lesson I discovered on my own, at least according to Google. I invented them, and that's really fun for me, to look at a text and just sort of... I was doing that with the Birkat Hamazon the other day. I didn't find any, but still. But you know how to do it. You look at the beginning, you look at the end, and you just try to work through to the middle. And then the other thing is that they're just a key structure in the Torah, so we have to know about them. If the Torah was filled with limericks, we'd need to know about limericks. How can you study a text like the Ashrei or Eshet Chayil without noticing that they're acrostics? Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. If you try to not pay attention to that, you're not getting the whole sense of the text. Okay, here's what we're doing now. I don't know your levels of Hebrew. I don't know your sense of confidence in what you've learned. So I've created a bunch of different sheets with chiasms that I want you to work on, either as an individual or in groups of 2, 3, whatever number. The ones that are green, like the traffic light, are beginner. The ones that are yellow, like the traffic light, are intermediate. And the ones that are red are advanced. And they each have the solution. So what I want you to do is I want you to struggle with them. Do your best to figure out what they are. Maybe not spend too much time. So hopefully you can go on and look at another one, just 1 second. And just do your best and then check and see what you've learned. Yeah?
Forgive me, I just want to say, so if you were going to say in a couple words,
Right.
how would you define this?
Chiasm?
Yes.
A chiasm is like a palindrome.
Okay.
Assuming everyone knows what a palindrome is. Chiasm is like a palindrome, but for words, concepts, and events. All right? So, half of them are in Hebrew, half of them are in English. Pick the language that you're best at. I think what I'll do is I'll just leave them up here. Come get the one you want. Go meet in groups.
Do you want these back?
No, yes, I'll take these back. I'll come collect them.